Hey everybody, Boomhauer69 here, and today's video, as you can see, I got some wood pieces here. I'm going to be putting to the test this little saw, hand saw I bought at Walmart, excuse me. Bought this at the Walmart store. It's called Muddy, guess that would be 5-inch carbon, super sharp carbon steel folding saw. The blade is made out of carbon steel. It's a little folding saw that only costs, according to the receipt here, $9.98. That's with tax included. That's in U.S. dollars for those of you who live outside the United States. I live in the United States of America, so that would be $9.98 U.S. dollars. So right off the bat here, for a little cheap saw, it doesn't look too bad. If I can't get it open. Right out here. There's the model number right there. Well, here's what the packaging kind of looks like. Should have did a close-up before I opened it, but oh well. Now here's what the saw, the little Muddy saw, that's the brand it's called. Here's what the saw looks like. And you just press that button. Okay. So this only has one position. Now on the Silky Pocket Boy saw that I got, you can adjust the blade 2 positions. This one you can only do 1 position. One thing I do like about it is it's got a Phillips head screw there, which personally I like that, because if this was to ever come loose, you can just take a Phillips screwdriver and retighten that back up, and it's got a nut on the other end. But here's what the folding saw looks like. So far there ain't a whole, there's a little bit of, I think a little bit kind of a wiggly room, but not by much. And the handle's got some nice rubbery plasticness to it, you know. It's got some nice, where it's not gonna fall out of your hand, you know. It's got a pretty decent grip. I do a little bit like how the button here works and stuff. And the handle seems to be pretty good quality plastic. It's a plastic handle, obviously, but now this saw right here, this folding saw, is not designed to be going out in the woods trying to cut down a whole tree and cut down the forest, you know. That's what a gas-powered chainsaw is for. This folding saw is just for gathering up some sticks about like this size here. I have a few here. I'm not going to try to cut them all, but stuff like this. This would be what you would use to, you know, you're walking in the woods, going hunting with your friends, and you're out hunting with your friends, and you got to gather up firewood and stuff, and so you probably all gather up wood about this size or whatever, you know. You're gathering up wood that's about as big as your arm to throw on the fire and stuff, and you're gonna use this to kind of just pick up branches off the ground and cut them up to the size you want to. You know, maybe you got a little hunting cabin and you gotta gather up some firewood for your wood stove, or you got a little barbecue charcoal grill that you brung with you or something, you know, or you just simply want to cut up, you made a little fire pit ring out of rocks and you just simply want to cut them up to a proper size and stuff, you know. That's what this is for. It's just for basically, would be for like light duty cutting, or maybe you're maybe because this I bought in the hunting slash camping section, so or you would use this for simply pruning maybe branches and cutting branches off your bushes or whatever, what the case may be, that as well. But since this was in the hunting section of the store, it's going to be something you're going to simply use for hunting purposes or camping purposes, to simply gather up some firewood and make your little fire and stuff. So without further ado, I think this is about the biggest piece I got, so I'm going to give her a whirl here and see if it'll cut through this. I'll get a little bit of a deep cut in here. Now here's what the cut looks like so far with the saw, and there's what the blade looks like so far from cutting. Yeah, I'll just keep working away at her. When cutting with the saw, always watch where your fingers are so you don't cut your fingers off. Obviously, if you're trying to cut green wood with one of these, you're going to have a little bit of struggle. So when you're out looking for firewood for hunting, camping, whatever the reason is, make sure to try to find some pretty dry wood, because that's going to be a lot easier to cut, and drier wood's going to burn a lot easier than green wood, because green wood is going to have a lot of moisture in it, a lot of wetness, and it's not going to burn very good. So, and also not cut very good, and you'll be putting a lot of struggle. Now, I'm not putting too much pressure on the saw or really trying to ream on it. I'm just kind of letting the saw do its thing and stuff. Let the blade do the work is what I'm doing here. But there you have it. There's what the biggest piece. There it did. Showing you a little bit kind of smaller piece, as well here. But there's what it looks like on a little bit smaller piece. Now, obviously, with this saw, you're going to try to find logs that are about as big as your arm, or per se there. You're not obviously going to try to grab big old giant logs, because, lugging them to your campsite and stuff is going to be really hard to do. So you're obviously just going to be finding some branches and simply trying to cut some branches with it, like this right here that I just cut, as you can see, and stuff, and logs about this size and stuff. This is meant for just kind of pruning and cutting up small stuff. You're obviously not going to try to cut all kinds of bigger stuff, and you're just going to be only trying to cut the smaller stuff. But this is the first time using this, so, and I'm no saw expert. I'm no expert on folding saws or on how to tell if a saw blade is technically really good or not, but I see that it did pretty good the first time using it and stuff. And I know for only $10 you're not going to get a whole lot, because it's usually these folding saws under $10 and stuff. They're like these are going to be a little on the cheap side, but oh no, I like how the plastic stick handle feels a little more hefty, and I like how it's got some rubber grip to it, so that way it won't slip out of your hand like I'm firmly gripping this and then trying to use my other hand to pull it out, and it's not moving, so yeah. And it seems alright. There's a little bit of wiggle room here. I can show you on the blade here. There's a little bit of, kind of, as you can tell, a little play-by-play, but I think if you wish to go easy on this and not try to be a strong arm man on it, I'm a big guy. If I went and tried to get big, thick, giant pieces of log and tried to cut with this, I would imagine the blade would just eventually break, and then you'd be out $10. But first time using this, and my thoughts on this folding saw blade, it's not a little bad blade, obviously the Silky Pocket Boy saw that I've done videos about before, that's going to be all around way better quality, because that's higher quality saw blade. But for a cheap little basic saw, I think if you're not using it too much, I think it would be alright for kind of like here and there cutting. But I imagine, since this is the first time using this, I imagine over time this cheap blade's going to dull right down where it won't even cut small sticks like these and stuff, where it will eventually not be able to cut very good. But on the first cut, it did alright. And stuff, I can show you again on another thicker piece here. Let's try like a piece like this. Well, there you have it. There's another piece that it cut. But so far it seems to be, for a cheap basic saw, I think it's cutting pretty good the first time. Obviously this little cheap saw, I would probably say it's going to be one of those that you might get maybe a season or two out of it, and then the blade's just going to simply go quite dull and then become junk and stuff. Cause again, this was only a $10 saw, so don't expect it to be the super high quality, the Silky Pocket Boy and stuff. Obviously one good quality saw, you're going to have to spend more. But if you're just looking for a saw to use maybe 1 or 2 times camping with your buddies or hunting or whatever, and you ain't got one and you can't afford to right away get a better quality saw, then you might look into this. Because I from my experience with folding saws and stuff, I think it's so far it's cutting pretty good. But I got a funny feeling that after so many uses, this blade's going to definitely be quite dull and going to end up having issues. I'll show you a close-up again, the saw. There's what it looks like. I do like how it's got a little hole here where you can put a lanyard on it, or like make a necklace and stuff. Here's the other side. Of course, the logo is, to me, they call it muddy, so they make the logo look like somebody threw some mud on it, made their logo look kind of muddy. But and I do like how it closes box pretty good, because some of these cheaper saws will pull them out and they won't lock very good, and this one seems to have a pretty good lock on it, so you don't got to worry about when it's in your pack opening up and stuff. It seems to stay pretty close. I'm putting quite a bit of tension on it, and it's not opening up like some of these cheaper saws. The locking mechanism won't work very good. But it was only $9.98 at the Walmart store where I bought this, and I like how it's got again, a little Phillips screwdriver head there, a Phillips head. So in a pinch, if this was to kind of over time come loose like most cheap saws do, you can easily take a Phillips screwdriver and try to tighten that back up. And I do say for basic saw, it seems like the handle, the plastic rubbery handle, it's plastic with a little bit of rubber over top of it. I gotta say, the plastic fused kind of pretty hefty plastic and stuff, and it seemed to cut this dry wood here, this real dry wood that I had lying around and stuff, because I out back pick up sticks and stuff around my yard from time to time and keep them for doing these sort of videos and stuff. But yeah, I would say for the most part anyways, it's a pretty good little basic saw, and I imagine you'd probably get maybe 2 to 3 seasons out of her maybe before it starts going super dull and then you just gotta throw it out. Or if you know how to resharpen these style blades, resharpening them, I imagine you get maybe 2 to 3 seasons out of it before you have to go ahead and resharpen it and stuff. One thing I didn't do in this video that I probably should have done is oil up the blade first. I was always taught when you're using hand saws and stuff, you're supposed to oil up your blades and stuff, which I did not do and should have, which I don't know if oiling up the blade really helps prolong the life of the blade, or if that's just an urban myth or something. But that's what I was always taught growing up. When you're using hand saws and folding saws, you should every so often rub a little oil on them, any old oil. But yeah, I know some of my family members, I think, used to use regular chainsaw barn oil for that. But I'm gonna say, as of right now anyways, I'll have to keep using this for quite a while and see how it works out, because this is the first time using it. But which right off the bat, first time using it, it actually worked and did not break. I've seen videos online where people were putting to test cheap folding hand saws, and the one time use it broke. And obviously on this, the simple, well, few times I'm using it right now, it seems to be alright. I'll do another little small saw in here. See, it cut that pretty good, and so far it seems to still cutting away. I'll do another deep cut for y'all here on this one. So yeah, if you're basically, show you a little bit better, the cut mark there. So yeah, basically if you just kind of let the saw do the job, and you're not trying to cut down big old giant, logs and stuff, you're basically all you're doing is just maybe a little bit stuff kind of like this, something smaller than this, or a little bit there. I'm losing my train of thought there, but basically stuff about this size or smaller, in diameter. Obviously you're not trying to cut with this big giant logs and trying to be a loggerman and be Paul Bunyan and chop down the forest. And with this little saw, then you're gonna be all right if you're not trying to do all that. But I think if you need something just for quick throwing in your backpack, and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on a folding saw, maybe you're only going to use it during the hunting season to make your little campfire to stay warm in the colder weather and stuff, or you're just simply going to go out camping with your family and stuff, and you're going to need a little folding saw that won't take up a whole lot of space to cut you up some firewood, and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, and you just want something that'll cut up some firewood so you can roast hot dogs and s'mores with your family, because fall weather, a lot of people like to have little outdoor cookouts and stuff. Then this probably will be for you, because that's why I saw it. in Walmart looking at the camping stuff, and I happened to say, oh, there's a pretty small little compact folding saw. I'll give that a try and do a video about it. And that's what caught my eye, was the size of it, because when you're out hiking, backpacking, you know, every little bit of space is prime real estate. And so if you need a folding saw and you can't afford a Silky Pocket Boy, I've even done the Fiskars folding saw, which is a lot bigger and longer. And actually, the Fiskars folding saw, that blade is a lot more kind of thin and flimsier, where this one, compared to the Fiskars folding saw, this has a more thicker, heavier, dutier blade on it, a little more thicker blade and not so thin and flimsy like the Fiskars. And the Fiskars is obviously a lot more longer and bigger, probably about, the Fiskars probably goes out to here, where this one is actually a lot more smaller and compact. So if you're worrying about taking up a saw, taking up a whole lot of space, this might be for you, because it's going to take up less space and stuff. And so, as of right now, so far I don't do a whole lot of cutting up wood and stuff, but when I do, I'll make sure to try to use this and see how well it works out for a while, and then maybe sometime down the line do an update video about how well it worked out and stuff. But I imagine you'd probably get 2 to 3 seasons out of this, and then it would eventually be junk. But for only $10, I'd say after, if you got about 5 seasons out of this, and the blades started to go dull and get wrecked and stuff, then, you know, say, hey, I got my money's worth, you know. So, but yeah, for a little, it only cost me $9.98, because I'm taxed and everything. So it was, so $9.98 with tax. That's in US dollars. And so, oh no, I think it's going to be an okay little saw for if you just want to kind of El Cheapo saw and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, and you don't want to buy one of them big old Fiskars folding saws, because you might not have a whole lot of room, and you want a little more small compact saw. And versus the Fiskars folding saw, this seems to be a little more heavier, dutier built than the Fiskars folding saw. And here's again another view of how long it is fully extended out, so we can get a rough idea of how long it's going to be folded out, and then closed up in stow and go mode, I guess some people would call it. There's what it's going to look like when it's folded up and everything, and how small it's going to be. I'll try to do a little bit more close up so y'all get a good look at that. But yeah, I think it's going to be an okay little folding saw. There ain't a whole lot more I can say about it. So if you like this sort of content, so as of right now, I'm going to feel comfortable at 5 stars, and 2 thumbs up on her. So I'm going to give it about roughly for what it is, you know, a 5-star right now. I think it's all right and stuff. So if you like this sort of content, give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you didn't like it, comment your thoughts below. What did you think of this video? Good video, bad video, whatever. Don't forget to share this video with everybody you know. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because that's going to help me, Boomhauer69, in growing this YouTube channel. I hope I did a good job at showing this folding saw. I want to warn y'all, I know camera product review expert guy and stuff. I'm just doing it as learning as I go along, I guess. And so if you're some logging guy out there, loggerman or whatever in the professional logging business, and you got some advice on how I should review folding saws, drop them in the comment section below. And hope you all have a good day, and thank you for watching Boomhauer69's YouTube channel.